When I opened the family group chat on my phone and saw pictures of cruise ship brochures and excited messages about cabin assignments and shore excursions for a family vacation that apparently included everyone except my husband and me and our 2 young children, I felt my heart break in a way that I hadn't experienced since childhood, when I first learned that not all love is unconditional, and that even family members can choose cruelty over kindness when it serves their purposes or satisfies their need to punish those who don't conform to their expectations. The group chat, which had been active for months with discussions about family events and holiday planning, suddenly became a window into a devastating truth that my parents had orchestrated an elaborate family vacation for my siblings and their families while deliberately excluding us from the planning, the invitation, and the opportunity to create memories with the extended family that I had always believed included us as valued and equal members, deserving of the same love and consideration as any other family member. The messages showed weeks of detailed planning between my parents, my sister Rachel and her husband and 3 children, my brother Mark and his wife and twin daughters, and even my cousin Jennifer and her teenage son, all of whom were discussing dining reservations, entertainment shows, and activities for a 7-day Caribbean cruise that was scheduled for the following month during my children's spring break from school, when we had been hoping to spend quality family time together, either at home or visiting relatives who we rarely had the opportunity to see due to geographical distance and busy schedules. What made this discovery even more devastating was the casual way that family members were discussing the vacation, as if my absence was natural and expected, sharing photos of their children's excitement about the trip and making jokes about shipboard activities and tropical destinations, while completely ignoring the fact that my family had been systematically excluded from what was obviously meant to be a major family celebration and bonding experience that would create lasting memories and strengthen relationships between family members who were deemed worthy of inclusion. The realization that my parents had planned and paid for an expensive vacation for every family member except us, and that my siblings had participated in the planning and preparation without ever questioning why we weren't included or suggesting that we should be invited to join the family celebration, revealed a level of deliberate exclusion and coordinated rejection that forced me to confront the painful truth about my place in our family hierarchy and the conditional nature of love that I had always believed was supposed to be unconditional and permanent, regardless of geographical distance or lifestyle differences that might exist between family members. The family group chat had been created by my mother 6 months earlier as a way to coordinate family events, share photos of grandchildren, and maintain communication between family members who lived in different cities and states, but who had always prioritized staying connected despite geographical distances that made regular in-person gatherings challenging, but not impossible with proper planning and commitment to maintaining family relationships that had been important to all of us throughout our lives. The chat had been active with discussions about birthday parties, holiday celebrations, and random updates about children's activities and achievements, creating what I had thought was a warm and inclusive family communication system that kept everyone informed about important events and allowed us to support each other through life's challenges and celebrations in ways that strengthened our bonds despite physical distance that could have otherwise caused our relationships to weaken over time. I had been an active participant in the chat since its creation, sharing photos of my children Emma and Lucas during their various activities and milestones, asking for advice about parenting decisions and challenges that other family members might have experience with, and contributing to discussions about family gatherings and celebrations that I assumed would always include our nuclear family as valued members of the extended family unit that had been my source of identity and belonging for my entire adult life. The group chat had seemed like a wonderful way to stay connected with family members who I didn't get to see as often as I would have liked, and I had been grateful for the technology that allowed us to share daily moments and maintain relationships that might have otherwise suffered due to the demands of work, school, and family life that made it difficult to stay in touch through traditional phone calls and visits. The cruise vacation had apparently been in the planning stages for several months, with my parents proposing the idea as a way to celebrate their 40th wedding anniversary, while also creating special memories with their children and grandchildren who were scattered across the country and rarely had opportunities to spend extended time together in a relaxed and fun environment away from the stress and distractions of daily life that often interfered with meaningful family bonding and relationship building. The initial discussions about the cruise had taken place in private conversations between my parents and my siblings, conversations that I was never included in and that I had no knowledge of until I stumbled upon the evidence in the group chat that revealed the full scope of the planning and preparation that had been going on behind my back for months, without any consideration for my family's inclusion or participation in what should have been a celebration that included all their children and grandchildren. My mother had apparently chosen a specific cruise line and itinerary that would accommodate multiple families with children of various ages, booking adjoining cabins and family-friendly activities that would allow the adults to relax while ensuring that the grandchildren would be entertained and engaged throughout the 7-day vacation that would take them to tropical destinations they had been dreaming about visiting together as an extended family for years. The cruise was scheduled to depart from Miami and visit several Caribbean islands, including Jamaica, Cozumel, and the Bahamas, with shore excursions planned for snorkeling, beach activities, and cultural tours that would provide educational and entertaining experiences for both adults and children who were looking forward to exploring new destinations together and creating memories that would last a lifetime and be shared in family stories for generations to come. The cost of the cruise was significant, with my parents apparently covering all expenses, including airfare from various cities where family members lived, accommodations in ocean view cabins that would provide stunning views of the Caribbean waters, meals at specialty restaurants, and room service that would make the vacation feel luxurious and special, and activities such as spa treatments for the adults and kids clubs for the children that would ensure everyone had opportunities to enjoy their preferred types of recreation and relaxation. The total financial investment for 16 family members, including themselves, my siblings and their spouses, and 6 grandchildren ranging in age from 4 to 16 years old, who were all excited about the adventure that awaited them in the Caribbean sun, represented not just an expensive vacation, but also a clear statement about which family members were valued enough to deserve inclusion in this once-in-a-lifetime celebration and memory-making experience that would create bonds and stories that would be shared for years to come among the family members who were deemed worthy of my parents' generosity and love. What made the discovery even more painful was the timing and the way I found out about the exclusion through casual browsing of the group chat, rather than through direct communication from my parents or siblings, who could have explained their decision or given me an opportunity to understand why our family had been excluded from the vacation planning that had apparently been going on for months, without our knowledge or input into decisions that would affect our ability to participate in family celebrations and maintain the relationships that had always been important to me. The messages in the chat showed that the cruise had been fully planned and booked, with final payments made and cabin assignments confirmed based on family groupings that deliberately excluded my nuclear family, making it clear that this wasn't an oversight or miscommunication, but rather a deliberate decision to exclude us from a family vacation that had been carefully planned and coordinated over a period of several months, with input from everyone except the family that was being systematically excluded from the celebration. The excitement and anticipation expressed by other family members in their messages made it obvious that they were all looking forward to the cruise and the opportunity to spend quality time together in a tropical paradise where they could relax, reconnect, and create special memories that would strengthen their relationships and provide stories and experiences to share for years to come during future family gatherings and celebrations. My sister Rachel had posted photos of her children shopping for new swimwear and beach clothes at expensive stores. While my brother Mark had shared screenshots of shore excursions he was excited to book for snorkeling and dolphin encounters that would be highlights of the vacation for his twin daughters who loved marine life and water activities, and had been talking about swimming with dolphins since they were toddlers, learning about ocean animals in preschool. The casual tone of the messages and the obvious assumption that everyone included in the chat was going on the cruise made it clear that my exclusion was not a recent decision, or an oversight that might be corrected if brought to their attention, but rather a fundamental assumption that had been built into the vacation planning from the very beginning, when my parents first proposed the idea as a way to celebrate their anniversary with the family members they considered most important and deserving of inclusion in this special celebration. The fact that no one in the family had questioned my absence or suggested that perhaps there had been a mistake in the planning process revealed that my exclusion had been discussed and agreed upon by the family members who were included, making their participation in the vacation a deliberate choice to support my parents' decision to exclude us from what should have been a family celebration that included all their children and grandchildren, regardless of geographical distance or lifestyle differences. As I scrolled through weeks of messages about cruise planning, dining reservations at specialty restaurants, and activity bookings for both adults and children, I tried to understand what I could have done to warrant this level of exclusion and rejection from a family that I had always considered to be close and supportive, despite normal family tensions and disagreements that exist in all extended families, but that I had never imagined could lead to such deliberate and coordinated rejection of. My nuclear family and our children who had done nothing to deserve this treatment. My relationship with my parents had been complicated in recent years due to their disapproval of some of my life choices, including my decision to move across the country for my husband's career advancement opportunities and my choice to raise my children with different religious and cultural values than those that had been emphasized in my own upbringing, and that my parents considered essential for maintaining family unity and traditional values that they believed should take precedence over individual preferences or modern approaches to child rearing. My parents had never fully accepted my husband, Tom, who came from a different social and economic background than our family, and who had different political and religious views that sometimes created tension during family gatherings, when controversial topics arose in conversation, and different family members expressed conflicting opinions about important social and political issues that affected our community and country. They had made subtle and not so subtle comments over the years about feeling like I had chosen my husband's family and values over my own family's traditions and expectations, creating a dynamic where I often felt like I was defending my marriage and my choices, rather than simply enjoying family time and maintaining the close relationships that I had always valued, and that had been a source of strength and identity throughout my life since childhood. The geographical distance between our home and my parents' city had also created challenges in maintaining the kind of close relationship that my siblings enjoyed, as they lived within driving distance of our parents and were able to participate in regular family gatherings, holiday celebrations, and casual visits that helped maintain strong emotional bonds and regular communication that kept them involved in the daily decisions and activities that shaped family dynamics and hierarchies. My children had fewer opportunities to develop close relationships with their grandparents and extended family members, which my parents interpreted as evidence that I didn't prioritize family relationships or value the importance of maintaining generational connections that had been important in their own upbringing and that they believed were essential for creating strong family bonds that would last throughout their grandchildren's lives. The discovery of the cruise planning felt like the culmination of years of subtle rejection and disapproval that had been building toward this moment of complete exclusion from a major family celebration that would create lasting memories and strengthen relationships between family members who were deemed worthy of inclusion in my parents' vision of what their family should look like and who deserved to benefit from their generosity and love that apparently came with conditions and requirements that my nuclear family had failed to meet. The fact that my parents had chosen to spend thousands of dollars on a vacation that deliberately excluded us while including extended family members like my cousin Jennifer, who had a more distant relationship with our parents than I did, and who lived even further away than we did, made it clear that this exclusion was personal and intentional, rather than based on practical considerations like cost or logistics that might have provided a rational explanation for their decision to exclude some family members while including others. The emotional impact of discovering the cruise plans through the group chat was devastating in ways that I struggled to process and understand, bringing up childhood feelings of rejection and inadequacy that I thought I had moved beyond through years of therapy and personal growth that had helped me develop a stronger sense of self-worth and independence from my family's approval and validation that had once been central to my identity and self-esteem. The realization that my parents were capable of such deliberate cruelty and that my siblings were willing to participate in my exclusion without questioning the fairness or kindness of their decision forced me to confront painful truths about family dynamics and conditional love that I had been avoiding for years while trying to maintain relationships that were apparently more important to me than they were to the other family members involved in this hurtful situation. The practical implications of the exclusion were also significant, as the cruise was scheduled during my children's spring break from school, a time when we had been hoping to plan our own family vacation or potentially visit extended family members who we rarely had opportunities to see due to distance and scheduling conflicts that made it difficult to coordinate visits during busy school and work schedules that dominated our lives throughout the academic year. The timing meant that even if we had wanted to plan an alternative vacation or visit other family members, many of our relatives would be unavailable because they would be participating in the cruise that we had been excluded from, leaving us isolated and without the family connections that we had been hoping to maintain and strengthen during what should have been a relaxing and enjoyable spring break period that would give us opportunities to reconnect and create positive memories together. The decision of how to respond to the discovery of the cruise plans required careful consideration of my goals for family relationships, my desire to protect my children from the emotional harm that could result from understanding their grandparents' rejection, and my need to maintain my own emotional health and self-respect in the face of such deliberate exclusion and cruelty that challenged everything I had believed about family loyalty and unconditional love that should exist between parents and children, regardless of disagreements or lifestyle differences. I could choose to confront my parents directly about their decision to exclude us, demanding an explanation and giving them an opportunity to include us in the vacation, or at least acknowledge the pain that their exclusion had caused our family and the damage it had done to our relationships that might be difficult or impossible to repair in the future. Alternatively, I could choose to respond to their exclusion by planning our own vacation during the same time period, demonstrating that we didn't need their approval or inclusion to create happy memories and enjoy quality family time that would strengthen our own nuclear family bonds and provide our children with positive experiences that weren't dependent on extended family acceptance or approval from people who had proven themselves incapable of loving us unconditionally. The option of remaining silent about the discovery and simply accepting the exclusion without comment would protect me from potential conflict, but would also mean accepting treatment that felt disrespectful and hurtful without standing up for our family's worth and dignity, or teaching my children that they deserved better treatment from people who claimed to love them but whose actions suggested otherwise. After several days of consideration and discussion with Tom about the best way to handle the situation without causing unnecessary drama, while still protecting our family's interests and emotional well-being, I decided to confront my parents directly about their decision to exclude us from the cruise, hoping that there might be an explanation or misunderstanding that could be resolved through honest communication, and that they might be willing to include us if they understood how hurtful their exclusion had been to our family and how it had damaged our relationships in ways that might be difficult to repair if not addressed immediately. The phone call was one of the most difficult conversations I had ever had with my parents, as I tried to express my hurt and confusion without becoming defensive or accusatory, in a way that might escalate the conflict and make reconciliation more difficult or impossible to achieve through future discussions. My mother's response to my confrontation was defensive and dismissive, claiming that the cruise had been planned for immediate family members only, and that including everyone would have made the vacation too expensive and complicated to coordinate effectively, as if my nuclear family wasn't part of the immediate family despite being her daughter and grandchildren, who should have been automatically included in any family celebration or vacation that was meant to bring the family together. When I pointed out that my cousin Jennifer and her son had been included despite being more distant relatives than my nuclear family, she became even more defensive and suggested that Jennifer's financial situation made it important for my parents to provide her with opportunities that she couldn't afford on her own, implying that our family's financial stability somehow made us less deserving of their generosity and inclusion in family celebrations that should have been based on love and relationship rather than financial need or charity. My father's contribution to the conversation was even more hurtful, as he explicitly stated that they had concerns about Tom's behavior during family gatherings and didn't want to risk having their anniversary celebration disrupted by political or religious discussions that might create tension among family members who were looking forward to a relaxing and harmonious vacation without the complications that apparently came with including our family in their plans. His willingness to exclude our entire family, including their grandchildren who had nothing to do with any adult disagreements or conflicts, because of his personal discomfort with my husband's personality and opinions, revealed a level of prejudice and inflexibility that I had not fully recognized, despite years of subtle tensions and disagreements that had characterized our family interactions whenever topics of politics or religion arose during gatherings. The conversation made it clear that my parents' decision to exclude us was not based on practical considerations like cost or logistics, but rather on their fundamental disapproval of my marriage, my lifestyle choices, and my decision to prioritize my nuclear family's needs and values over their expectations and traditions that they believed should take precedence over any other considerations in family decision-making processes. Their willingness to exclude their grandchildren from a family vacation because of their personal feelings about my husband showed that their love for their grandchildren was conditional and dependent on their approval of their parents' choices and behavior, rather than the unconditional love that grandparents should provide to innocent children who had done nothing to deserve rejection or exclusion from family celebrations and bonding experiences. The aftermath of the confrontation was swift and decisive, with my parents making it clear that they would not be including us in the cruise and that they felt their decision was justified and appropriate given what they perceived as my lack of commitment to family relationships and traditional values that they considered important for maintaining family unity and harmony among multiple generations. The conversation ended with harsh words and hurt feelings that would permanently damage our relationship and create a rift that would be difficult, if not impossible, to repair through future communication and reconciliation efforts that would require acknowledgement of wrongdoing and genuine efforts to make amends for the harm that had been caused to innocent children who deserved better treatment from their grandparents. The decision to plan our own vacation during the same time period that my family would be on their cruise became an act of defiance and self-respect that allowed us to create positive memories and demonstrate to our children that happiness and family bonding didn't require the approval or inclusion of extended family members who couldn't love them unconditionally or treat them with the respect and kindness that all children deserve from their relatives. We booked a trip to Disney World during the exact same week that my family would be cruising the Caribbean, creating a magical experience for Emma and Lucas that would give them stories and memories to treasure, while also showing them that their nuclear family was complete and valuable, regardless of other people's opinions or decisions about our worthiness for inclusion in their celebrations or family activities. The Disney vacation was everything we had hoped it would be, and more, filled with laughter, adventure, and bonding experiences that brought our nuclear family closer together, while also demonstrating to our children that they were loved and valued by the people who mattered most in their daily lives, and who would always prioritize their happiness and well-being over external approval or acceptance from family members who had proven themselves incapable of unconditional love or basic kindness toward innocent children. Today, 5 years after the cruise exclusion that revealed the true nature of my family's priorities and values, Emma and Lucas are confident and happy children who understand that love should be unconditional and that they deserve relationships with people who value and appreciate them exactly as they are, rather than expecting them to earn acceptance through their parents' choices and behavior that have nothing to do with their own worth as individuals. Was I wrong to confront my parents about their decision to exclude us from the family cruise? Should I have accepted their exclusion without comment and focused on maintaining family harmony rather than defending our family's worth? Would you have responded differently if you discovered that your parents had planned an expensive vacation for the entire extended family, except your nuclear family? Sometimes protecting your children's emotional well-being requires making difficult choices about family relationships, even when those choices result in permanent changes to family dynamics that can't be easily repaired through future communication and reconciliation efforts.